Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyervip.com, on Roku, Dwyer Boxing, and Sports News. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now first, let me put these comments in perspective, right? You need to put my comments in the right context, right? I'm really a gambler. I'm not a boxing insider, right? I don't spend my life trying to meet people or trying to interview anybody, right? So I'm an outsider. I have no inside information. This is just the view of one boxing observer. Understand, my game is really to try to bet on fights, right? It's not to get inside information. I'm not going to be waiting in a tunnel trying to get an interview with some fighter, nor am I going to be on the phone trying to contact boxing managers or promoters to get some inside scoop, right? If you're looking for that, that's a different venue. That's not here. Now, from my seat, in my opinion, without any inside information whatsoever, in response to some of the inquiries here on a possible Wilder-Povetkin matchup, in my opinion, Wilder doesn't fight Povetkin anytime soon, right? I believe it's more likely that Deontay Wilder allows himself to get stripped of his title than fight a guy who, in my opinion, would undress him in the ring and would beat him badly. Let's talk about why, right? We'll see if this prediction is true. Today is September the 30th, 2015, right? I don't believe Wilder fights Povetkin. I understand the sanctioning body has said you need to fight him in your next fight, right? Otherwise, Wilder gets stripped of his title. Let's talk about why, in my opinion, the fight doesn't happen. You know, it's my belief that the goal for most fighters, right, for their careers, can be summed up by two different parts. Right? One part is money. They want to get rich. The other part is fame. They want to be famous. They want a legacy. I don't believe that the goal for most of these guys is to win every title. I don't. Right? I do believe titles are important. Very important. But I believe for most, they're looking for money and fame. You tell me if I'm wrong here. Now let me say this. Not all titles are created equally. In my opinion, the boxing public falls in love with one heavyweight champ. Right? Sometimes there's an argument for two. Like the Ali Frazier days, like the Michael Spinks, Mike Tyson days. But most times we know who the heavyweight champion is, regardless of what sanctioning bodies are telling us. And in my opinion, there's only one heavyweight champion out there. And his name is Vladimir Klitschko. Right? What that means is that if you fight Vladimir Klitschko, you're going to make more money in the heavyweight division than you would if you fight anyone else. Right? What that also means is that if you beat Vladimir Klitschko, you're going to get more fame, a bigger legacy. You're going to be remembered more than if you beat anyone else at heavyweight, right? we respect the accomplishments of guys with other versions of the heavyweight title, right? We respected Bermane Severn. We respect Deontay Wilder, right? But we know that if asked who's the real champion, Wilder or Vladimir Klitschko, I believe at least 90% of you would say Vladimir Klitschko. Now let me say this, right? Understand the power of legacy, the power of fame. A promoter in Russia could step forward and could guarantee the fighters millions and millions of dollars. And I believe the people around Deontay Wilder, and they're an experienced, savvy group, right? Very savvy. I believe the people around Vladimir Klitschko would understand that whatever is offered by any promoter in Russia for a fight that really is a suicide mission, right? Because I'm telling you, in my opinion, Povetkin probably knocks out Wilder, right? I believe the people around Wilder understand that if Wilder gets a chance to fight Klitschko in Germany, number one, Wilder would have a better chance of winning that fight than he would against Povetkin. And number two, keep in mind too, those guys have sparred together already. There's more familiarity there between Wilder and Klitschko, right? Let's face it too, neither guy really knows what to do inside, right? Neither guy really is a big-time body puncher, right? Both are tall guys looking to land big right hands, right? I'd take Klitschko against Wilder, but let's just say Wilder has a better chance against Klitschko than he does a Miguel Cotto type of heavyweight, which is who Alexander Povetkin is. And like Cotto, by the way, I believe Povetkin, after his Austin Trout type fight, where he lost to Klitschko because he was too front foot heavy, I believe now Povetkin is figuring out how to use the entire ring. He's figuring out, as Cotto did after his loss to Trout, that if he's not all front foot, if he mixes front foot with back foot, unexpected suddenness, right, an ability to jump in, then dole out punishment, then get back out, he can be more effective, right? I believe the Wilder people understand that Povetkin is a more dangerous opponent than Klitschko. More importantly, I believe they understand that whatever money Wilder is offered to travel to Russia to fight Povetkin, right, is likely less money than Wilder would earn long term if he waits and fights either Vladimir Klitschko in Germany or Tyson Fury in the United Kingdom, right? Let me say this too. I don't believe Wilder would have any chance of beating Tyson Fury, who, quite frankly, I consider to be a better heavyweight than Klitschko and Wilder. These are just my views, right? I understand the public someplace else on this, right? But I do believe that if Fury beats Klitschko, the boxing public is going to view Fury as the legitimate heavyweight champion. And so a Wilder-Fury fight would be huge. I mean, big. right? Huge. And I do believe, because Wilder fought in the UK before, right? And because I believe the boxing cognoscente is slowly realizing that Fury might actually be a special heavyweight, right? I believe that if Wilder lost to Fury, that would be more acceptable to the boxing public than if Wilder loses to Povetkin, a tougher matchup for him style-wise, but who most of the public only knows Povetkin as a guy who already lost to Vladimir Klitschko, right? So in my opinion, Wilder understands that he has a chance for greater money and greater fame with more recognition as being the legitimate heavyweight champion if he fights Klitschko or Fury. I believe he understands the risk involved, and it's substantial. As I said, it's a suicide mission. If he goes to Russia to fight Alexander Povetkin, let me say this too. You know, I don't care who he's with here in the United States. Al Heyman, whoever. Doesn't matter to me. Understand that boxing right now, the heavyweight division right now in the United States, isn't what it once was. Right? In the U.S., we know that the real ambassador for the sport of boxing, the top dog, the top shelf in the entire sport, the fighter with, quite frankly, the most cultural relevance, is the heavyweight champion. Know it. Right? You know, there are few figures in the world, in my opinion, who, you know, have that certain power in culture to stop traffic, to have world leaders want to have photos taken with them, right? The Pope recently visited. He's one of those people. The Dalai Lama, he's one of those people. In the world of sports, there's the world's fastest man, right? Currently Usain Bolt. And, you know, there's the heavyweight champion of the world, right? I don't believe even pound for pound guys rank as big culturally as the heavyweight champion, right? Go back in history. Few events in the United States, in the country's entire history, have caused race riots on the level that Jack Johnson's victory over Jim Jeffries did years ago. There have been few events in history, right, in the world of sports, as big sociologically, as big culturally, as Joe Louis, Max Schmeling, as Ali Fraser, right? The lighter weights just don't have the gravitas that the heavyweight division has. And in my opinion, here in the United States, we've come to grips with the fact that other countries have had better heavyweights than us for quite some time. Right? So the heavyweight division is depressed here to the point where there's no outcry for domestic heavyweights here in the United States to fight each other. right? No one's in the streets yelling for Bryant Jennings against Deontay Wilder. No one's in the streets yelling for Tony Thompson to fight either Wilder or Bryant Jennings. It's just not happening. Because we've known for years that the best heavyweights are guys like Lennox Lewis, even before Lewis takes out Mike Tyson. Lennox Lewis, right? Vitaly Klitschko. Vitaly Klitschko, think about it. Comes to the United States, beats the daylights out of Chris Arreola, then leaves the country. Right? You can imagine the impact that had here in the U.S. Right? Now you have his little brother, Vladimir Klitschko. We know he's the heavyweight champion. You know what? Someone can come up to me and can say, hey, Deontay Wilder beat, Bermane Stiverne. Hey, I know that. Yeah, sure. As I've said before, if I'm in a bar and my back is to the door, and the door opens, and someone says to me, hey, the heavyweight champion of the world just walked in. Right? If the rest of the bar is buzzing, I'll know without turning around that the person who walked in the door was Vladimir Klitschko. Right? So in my opinion, if there's a heavyweight title fight in the United States, and it does not involve Vladimir Klitschko, if he's not in it, right? In my opinion, that fight's not going to draw the money that the fight would draw someplace else, right? Povetkin against Wilder will draw a much bigger gate. Economically, it's much more viable in Russia, in Moscow, than it is in New York City, than it is in Las Vegas. That fight, in my opinion, economically, financially, would necessarily have to take place in Russia. Understand, the fighters aren't the only ones looking for money. Understand, it's just a rule of life. Other than your parents, other than your grandparents, everybody wants to get paid. Right? The promoters want to get paid. The managers want to get paid. Hell, the entourages want to get paid. Right? So, I believe Deontay Wilder fully understands that he would have to go to the Soviet Union on a suicide mission to fight Alexander Povetkin. Even if he's offered a lot of money to do so, I believe he understands. One, his chances of winning the fight aren't that great. Right? Two, if he loses the fight, he's back in line. Right? He's just another heavyweight without a title. Right? He's Tony Thompson. He's Bryant Jennings. Talented guys without titles. He's just another face in the crowd. Right? We're going to view him as a guy who had a title for 5 minutes, who then lost it. But understand, if he doesn't fight Povetkin, if he allows the sanctioning body to strip him, he's still a ghost haunting the heavyweight division. Right? If Klitschko beats Fury, and I'm taking Fury in that fight, but if Klitschko beats Fury and then pivots and says, I'm going to fight Deontay Wilder because who else would he fight? Right? If Wilder is there and he's unbeaten, right? And if Klitschko were to fight him at that point, that fight would be huge. Wilder would get paid, a lot of money. And then if Wilder beats Klitschko, who style-wise is an easier matchup, here in the United States, he would be viewed as having a higher profile, having more legitimacy. Dare I say, he'd be viewed as the heavyweight champion of the world, the heavyweight champion of the world, not a heavyweight champion. The profile would be higher than it would be if he beats Povetkin in Russia. Right? Likewise, if Fury beats Klitschko, Tyson Fury will be viewed as the heavyweight champion of the world. Right? I believe Fury's game is so advanced, in my opinion. Right? Righty, lefty, outside, inside, mid-range, that I believe fighters seem to feel that Fury, who doesn't look like Adonis, he doesn't have the body of Vladimir Klitschko, he doesn't look like Deontay Wilder, he doesn't have an athletic build. I believe because Fury's game is more subtle, I believe Wilder thinks he has a better chance of beating Fury than he would Alexander Povetkin. And I believe Wilder, who speaks English, would feel more at home in the United Kingdom. Understand, he can pick up the paper in the United Kingdom and actually read it. He can turn on the TV and follow it without an interpreter. Right? I believe fighting Fury at Wembley or wherever, if they're smart, they'll put it in Wembley, but fighting Fury at O2, wherever, right, in the UK, Wilder would think he has more of a chance of winning that fight, and he would know that if he wins that fight, that's if Fury beats Klitschko, he'd be recognized as the heavyweight champion of the world. So, as of September 30th, 2015, when I make this video, it's my expectation that Deontay Wilder abdicates the heavyweight title. And that's the word I'm going to use. Because the heavyweight title, unlike most titles, is a throne. Right? I'm predicting that Deontay Wilder allows himself to get stripped. I believe he's then going to go back and look at old Ali films, if he's smart. And by the way, Wilder is a student of boxing. Right? I've listened to a few interviews with this guy. He knows boxing history. If he's smart, he's going to go back and he's going to look at some old Ali films when Ali got stripped. Now keep in mind, Ali didn't have a choice in getting stripped. But that's another story. And he's going to make the argument because it'll make him a more compelling figure. Right? If he allows himself to get stripped, if he thinks that Povetkin privately is too tough, that Russia's too mysterious, Povetkin he'd be fighting would be tougher than a Povetkin who fought Vladimir Klitschko. If he decides not to fight Povetkin, pay attention to the promoters who bid on the fight. I need for you to pay attention to where this fight is taking place. If you hear that a Russian promoter has won the right to the Povetkin-Wilder fight, in my opinion, there is simply no way that fight's going to take place outside of Russia. In my opinion, there is no way that Deontay Wilder is going to travel to Russia to fight a fighter who, quite frankly, is better than him. Right? So pay attention to that. That'll be the tip-off. But I believe Wilder needs to channel old Ali and needs to then make the argument, once he gets stripped, once they say Wilder needs to fight, Povetkin needs to fight some other elite heavyweight, right? Kubrat Pulev or whoever, right? Once they make that announcement, Wilder needs to then look outraged in a press conference. and needs to say, look, man, I'm the heavyweight champ. How could they have a fight in Russia without me and call it a heavyweight championship? Maybe Wilder even wants to channel someone else in boxing history. Maybe he wants to channel former champion Riddick Bowe, who famously showed up one time for a press conference with the belt on his shoulder, took the belt off his shoulder and then threw it in the trash can and said, I'm Riddick Bowe, I'm the heavyweight champion of the world, and today I am no longer as the championship belt. Right? But just know, we could talk about Povetkin against Wilder. You could tell me if I'm crazy. I think Povetkin would undress him. But in my opinion, that fight's not happening because it's too dangerous. It would have to happen in Russia. I believe Wilder would rather fight his widely recognized champion, the winner of Klitschko Fury. That's how I see the heavyweight division playing out. Let me hear from right? Leave your comments for me here online. Visit us at Gamblers Advisory.